Who created him that way? God did. Listen, in his ways. Was Satan always this evil, wicked demon or angel that he is today? No. God didn't create the devil the way that he is, friends. This is the type of person or angel God created. What happened to him? From the day you were what? Created. So how did God create it? He created him beautiful. He created him perfect in wisdom. He created him perfect in beauty. He created him with glory. Whose glory? God's glory. Till something happened to Satan. What happened? He sinned. He did it. Because it was found. Was it created in him? No. No. The iniquity was founded in him by God. You mean God didn't know? Of course, God knew what he was going to do. What you have to understand is the Bible says that God holds all things together in his hands. And when he opens his hands, things start coming out. Why? Because God determined to open it. He has a plan. He has a purpose for doing it. 1/3 of the angels came out. And what did the Bible say they did? When they came out, they turned. God opened his hand for Adam and Eve. They came out. What did the Bible say? They turned. Everybody who God releases, that is to do their own thing, they don't stay where God put them. They get out. Then the Bible says they turn away from God and they keep going. They never come back. What has to happen to get them back into God's hand? God has to go out and grab them by the back of the neck and throw them back in. The 2/3 of the angels that did not sin, you know what happened? God didn't let them out. Because if he had, they too would have came out and they would have turned. God held on to them. Why did he do that? Because he elected them. He determined to keep them. Why did Satan do that? By the abundance of his own trading. You became filled with violence within and you sinned. He looked at himself. That's what his problem was. Pride. All right. Now, God says, hey, look, you were lifted up and all this good stuff. You defiled yourself. He says, look, I'm going to turn you down and all the people, I'm going to bring you down. Listen, by the multitude of your own iniquity, you're going to get punished. By the iniquity of your trading, you're going to get punished. I brought fire from your midst, and I will turn you to ashes upon the earth, and all that will see will know that I'm the Lord. Friend, listen, this is glorious. I need to move on. Okay, so we looked at 28. Let's move on to another uh, chapter in to show you how man get down there. So that's this pit, right? So God now starts talking about this pit. He's now talking about Pharaoh. Remember we read about Pharaoh over in Romans chapter 9, where God says, I created you for this purpose. Now he was talking about a specific Pharaoh. Here in general, Pharaoh represents what? He represents Egypt. And there's a king behind the seat of Egypt. Who's that? Who's that? Satan, friends. And it's multitudes. So they started doing something. And he talked about the Assyrian again. And he comes in and he says, look, you're gonna wipe and you exalt yourself high in branches and all this stuff, right? And then he comes down here and starts talking about how he think too that he is a God. Therefore, God says, because you have done this stuff, something's going to happen. I have driven it out for its wickedness. I'm going to turn you out. On the ruins, the birds of heaven will remain on its branches. Who did we say, according to the book, are the birds? Demons. So who was running Egypt? Demons. Why did they enslave the Israelites? Demons. Why did they try to kill Moses and the children, the babes? Demons. It was a way to stop Christ. It was all demonic, friend. So God says, hey, I'm going to stop this mess. I'm going to deliver you. Listen, he's talking to both Satan and the man. He's talking to both here. I'm going to deliver you to death. This is both physical and spiritual. In the lake of fire. The lake of fire is also called the second death. How? Look, to the depths. The first part of this physical and spiritual is the depths of the earth. Wait a minute. What you mean the depths of the earth? God is talking about a place where he put people when they die today, and the people who have already passed, they go down to this place called Hades. It's a place of torment, a temporary prison, essentially, is what it is. And it's similar to the lake of fire, but it's not the lake of fire. Among the children of men who go where? They go down, down inside the earth. What's inside the earth? There's this place called the pit. So if you're wondering where people are today, the unbelievers, all of them that have died, where are they? According to the Bible, this is the earth. Sorry. This is the earth. There's this place over here that the Bible calls Hades. It's a place of torment. When unbelievers die, where do they go? They go right here. Yet, there's another place over here that the Bible calls the bottomless pit. Okay? But now we were talking about hell. That is Hades, the place this right here. So you see, and in this chapter, it talks about that all the way through. I want to show you something very interesting. So God continues to talk to this man. And by the way, if you continue to read this chapter, it tells you where the Garden of Eden went. Okay? Because the trees that he was talking about was a reference to the Garden of Eden. He goes on, he says, listen, watch this. I made the nation in the day when it went down to hell. What went down to hell? Garden of Eden. Wait, whoa, wait, time out, Kevin. What in the world do you mean that the Garden of Eden went to hell? Friend, I don't mean anything. You got to ask God what he means. He's the one telling the story, not me. You think I know about hell and the bottomless pit on my own? No, man, I don't know anything. Let me show you what he's talking about. Now, remember, I just drew you a picture of the earth. Well, let's do this. Let's go to the big board to give you a nice size picture here. I just drew you a picture of the earth, right? So here's the earth. And over here, there was this place. And it had two sides, right? And this what the Bible calls a gulf. And it's fixed right here. This place right here. That is a space between the two, and nobody can cross. You can't come from this side and go to this side, and you can't go from this side to that side. That's why I tell you, if you end up in hell, you will remain there forever. And if you're born again, you can't go from this side to that side. Why not? Because you have to be created. You have to die, and then God puts you over here. Now, this side right here, and I'm going to just box them. This side right here was called paradise. Okay? And this happens to be the Garden of Eden, better known in the Bible as the Garden of God. That's what he was talking about. This place right here is called the place of torment. This is where the rich man and Lazarus, the story of the rich man and Lazarus. What was Lazarus and Abraham? Lazarus and Abraham was over here. Where was the rich man? The rich man was over here. Notice the rich man could walk. The rich man can talk. The rich man can see. The rich man can actually see the people who were over here and have a conversation with them. But he couldn't move from one place to the other. And he said, I am tormented in this flame. Who said that? Kevin? No, man, I have no idea what's going on underneath the earth. God said that. And over on this side, the Bible says that there's a place called the bottomless pit. Who said that? Kevin? No, man, I don't know what's underneath the earth. I can only tell you what God says. And he says somewhere in here, I don't know where because he don't say exactly. There is what he calls, God calls a prison. And he says that there are demons locked in chains. Who said that? Kevin? No, man, I have no idea where demons are. God said that in the book of Revelation. So that's what's underneath the earth. And actually, God, during the millennium, cuts a window so that people during the millennium can actually look into this place. Now, where is this paradise right now? Paradise moved to heaven. It was moved to heaven. How do I know that? The book of Ephesians tells me that God moved it to heaven. Paul visited there in 2 Corinthians. He says, I went up, not down, caught up to paradise. So this place right here, this one is no longer there. Where did it go? It moved to heaven. God said that. Why he did that, I have no idea, friend. When Jesus descended into hell, so this whole place right here, let me get some of this off the board. This whole place right here, right, was two. So that was one section, and there's a second section. Two different places, and it was called Hades, or the grave. So when the Bible is talking about the grave, it's not talking about the 6 feet under. It's talking about this place right here. Okay? When Jesus said, where all those who are in the grave shall hear the voice of the Son of Man and come out of the grave to judgment. What grave is he talking about? This is what he's talking about, friends. He's not talking about the body in the 6 feet under. He's talking about this place right here. Now, God moved this section over to heaven. The only place that's left down here is this one right here. In the book of Isaiah, the Bible said it enlarged itself. Who said that? Kevin? No, I didn't say that. God said that. You'll find that over in the book of Isaiah. Okay. Why did it enlarge itself? Because this side of it was taken away. And the more people that was born into the world, the more people started fitting into this place called the place of torment. Now, let me show you this prison in the bottomless pit. So you got an idea now what God is talking about. I gave you a visual. Now watch this. God says, in the day, it, yeah, the Garden of Eden. You say, wait a minute, man, why would God send it down? Because people were dying. And he had a place called paradise to send those people who were saved to. All right, it went down to hell. Now, this is a bad, they should have put Hades. It's not hell like you and I think of hell. It's the place called Hades, and it was the good side of Hades. I caused mourning. I covered the deep because of it. God says, I hid it. I restrained its rivers and the great waters. What rivers? The 4 rivers that God had going through it. How did he restrain it? He left the rivers on top. Top, yeah, on top of the earth. That's where they are. They're still there today. The Physon, the river Euphrates, the 4 rivers he mentioned over in Genesis chapter 2. That's the rivers he's making reference to. And the great waters. What great waters? This is the underground seas or pools of water that fed the earth when God created it. Remember, it didn't rain until after or until the flood. How in the world did the trees get their water? And there was only 4 rivers over the whole earth. How did everything else get its water? It got it from these underground, what God calls seas, that was underneath the ground. And the Bible says it was everything received its water from underneath. The ecological system of the earth has changed, friends. It's changed multiple times. It changed the first time when Adam and Eve sinned. It changed the second time during the days of Noah. We're on the 3rd iteration of the ecological system of the earth based on the scriptures. We're held back. God held it back from that place. Now he's talking the top. I cause Lebanon to mourn for it. All the trees of the field, listen what happened. The things on top of the earth started withering. Why do the trees die today? Because the ecological system isn't what God first created. It's different, friends. Now, instead of the water coming up from beneath the ground, like God designed it to do, where's the water coming from? The water is falling from top and going into the ground. That's not how God wanted things to be. And that's not how it's going to be on the new earth. Friend, there won't be any rain in the new earth. None, zero. That rain goes away. What happens? God reverts it back to the way he originally designed it. What's causing the rain? Sin. Sin. It's part of the curse. What does the rain cause? It causes flood. It causes snow. It causes sleet. See, the clouds, what do? Hey, man, you think that's good? No, no, it ain't good. It's causing death.